Today's 2024 Philadelphia Sports Hall of Fame inductee spotlight is on Chase Utley. And rarely is there a slam dunk shoe-in at this point. Like, once the Philadelphia Sports Hall of Fame started 21 years ago, you had the slam dunks for that first induction class. But Chase Utley is a no-brainer inductee for the Philadelphia Sports Hall of Fame. Spent 13 years here in Philly, played in over 1,500 games at second base. He's a six-time All-Star. Remember the All-Star game in New York when he said, "Boo, F you"? One of my favorite Chase Utley and one of those underrated Chase Utley moments. He was a four-time Silver Slugger, 5 NL East titles, 2 NL pennants, a huge part of that 2008 World Series, especially that in the World Series Game 5, that fake throw that kept the game tied, where he looked like he was going to first base, threw it home, and got the out. And I think that was, and I've said this before, I think it's one of the most underrated plays in that World Series. Everybody talks about how good Hamels was, Joe Blanton's home run, the clutch hitting in the second part of Game 5. But if Chase Utley does not make that play, I think we go Game 6 and go back to Tampa Bay, to be honest with you. And then, of course, what best known for his speech, he was Jason Kelce before Jason Kelce was Jason Kelce. And we all remember the clip, "World champions, world effing champions." One of my all-time favorite Chase Utley moments, that and the "boo, F you." But all-time, he's 5th all-time for the Phillies for doubles, 6th in home runs and runs, 7th in RBIs, extra base hits, and total bases, 9th in hits and game played. He's 1st in hit by pitches and 9th all-time in Major League Baseball. If you remember, Chase Utley had no problem just sticking an elbow out and taking the base. Always taking one for the team, that Chase. But he was clutch. And I think we all talk about Jimmy Rollins and Ryan Howard, but Chase Utley was very clutch in the postseason. 262 average with 10 homers, 25 RBI, and I think it was like 35 games they played, including hitting 5 in that 2009 World Series. So say what you want about that team and their leaving championships on the table. Chase Utley certainly did his part when the money was on the line when it came time for the Phillies in the postseason. He is a fan favorite. He is a borderline Major League Baseball Hall of Famer. Got a decent amount of votes last year in the election, or the voting. I'm actually anxious to see what he does this year with that vote. Famously dubbed the man by the legend Harry Kalas, "Chase Utley, you are the man." And on November 7th, Chase Utley takes his place among the all-time greats in Philly sports when he is inducted into the Philadelphia Sports Hall of Fame as part of the 2024 inductee class. But today's spotlight for the Philadelphia Sports Hall of Fame inductee class, Chase Utley, the man, the legend, one of the all-time fan favorites in Philly, one of those guys that always had his uniform dirty, wasn't afraid to muck and grind and do the little things. And like I said, one of the most, I think, underrated and probably the most important play of that World Series was his fake throw. Because if you go back to Tampa Bay, who knows what happens? They steal Game 6, and all of a sudden it's a do-or-die Game 7. So Chase Utley is today's Philadelphia Sports Hall of Fame 2024 inductee spotlight.